Hello amigos, come on stats, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Mexico's January World Cup qualifying rosters. It has just been released, so we're just going to go through it. I've got it up here. Maybe I see the reflection. Yeah, we're just going to go through it by position, and I'm just going to just give you my thoughts on it and see what you guys think. So let's just go. So obviously the first thing we're going to be talking about, and I think it's the probably the glaringly jarring of them all is the goalkeepers. Two issues with those. One is there's four of them. Like there's three games. Like like at least one of them is not gonna get game time at all. If even if you rotate each for each game, and you don't see Mexico doing that. Um, yeah, and yeah, so I'm just thinking, why four? Like, surely there could have been an outfield player that you could have brought instead. One of the younger players maybe. I just don't see why we called out four goalkeepers, but it is what it is. And then obviously the four that we've actually picked. Ochoa, obviously, still Mexico's number one goalkeeper, even though his time at America has been a bit iffy in my opinion, but still, he's still Mexico's number one. And his time with Mexico for the last year or so. I mean, the three finals we lost. He didn't play all three, but he didn't have a good 2021 with Mexico either. I don't think, in my opinion. So, but he's still the number one. So I'm okay with the Cholo being in there. But Orozco, I mean, I love Orozco. I think Chivas should have got him, but I just think really like I don't know Talavera and obviously Cotto, and obviously Talavera is the number two. So I think Ochoa is probably going to start all three games, in my opinion. Like for me, it should have been three goalkeepers, and it should have been Acevedo, Ochoa, and Godino. Godino made the horror error in the Chivas game last week, but still, he's had a good season. He's been one of Chivas' consistently best players. So over the last year or two, so like why not call them up? They're younger players. Obviously, most of these guys are not going to be playing international football. You'd think in the next year or two, bring these guys in now, have them learning from Ochoa. I've said this a million times. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Especially Acevedo. I mean, Acevedo blatantly is going to be number one for Mexico at some point in the not too distant future. It's like he's missing out on some, even though Ochoa's probably going to play most of these games. So get him training with him. Get him talking to Ochoa and the guys that have bags of experience. And it's just like I don't know. That's the goalkeeper issue. For me, that's the worst part about this roster. So somewhat get the bad out the way quickly, I guess. Going into the defenders, and this is where it gets really, really positive for me. First of all, Gerardo Arteaga's back. I mean, oh my god, how badly have we needed him? How badly have we just been crying out for him over the last year, I suppose, ever since the Olympics, where he kind of I don't know. It was a dodgy way of him not going to the Olympics. He was called up to the Olympic squad, and then he decided he didn't want to go because of personal reasons. And then he was playing for Genk while the Olympics are going on. So there was questions about, well, if he's got personal reasons for not playing with Mexico, then how come he's playing with his club? It just looked bad. It looked like he was like, yeah, nah, I can't be bothered with the Olympics. I just want to play with my club instead. It could have been personal reasons. It could have been an issue that no one knows about. That's very, very possible. And that's just what it looked like. And then, Tata Martine's like, yeah, I'm not calling you up anymore. And he didn't for the rest of the year. So it just looks like there was a bit of a fishy thing going on and he was punished for it. But I think the punishment was um, too big for the crime. I think we blatantly needed him in December, I think. But I'm super happy that he's back. So as long as he starts, I mean, he should start. I think he's Mexico's. I would say Mexico's best left back now. I don't want to see Gallardo, who has been called up. I don't want to see him play starting at least. If he comes off the bench in 70th minute or whatever, that's fine. But Arteaga needs to be starting most of these games now. So super buzzing that he's in. Julian Araujo is the surprise, I guess. You can see why they brought him in, though. I mean, we are a bit light in the right back position, but we've called in Jorge Sanchez as well, who I think is a good player. I mean, obviously there's room for improvement. Obviously, he's not the finished article. I think he's only 22, 23, so he's got lots of room to improve. But like, I think he's Mexico's starting right back and he's the best right back we have. But you want Julian Araujo in amongst that squad because Araujo is good enough to be there for one thing, and the second thing is if he does really well and it clicks and he boosts in his development, he could take over Jorge Sanchez's spot and become Mexico's best right back. So super buzzing for Araujo to be in there. Nestor Araujo is in there, obviously, Celta Vigo player. I think he starts. Although he's been a bit dodgy, the whole team's been dodgy. Most 2021 was not a good year for Mexico, so but I think I'm happy with him being in there. Cesar Montes, I mean, absolutely. I mean, he should be in Europe by now. I'm really annoyed that he's still in Monterrey. Hector Moreno, I think, is more of a kind of like Godardo, kind of more of a dressing room, locker room kind of experience kind of guy. Um, I'm not sure how much game time he's going to get. I think it's going to be Araujo and Montez as centre backs. And then you've got, Chaco Rodriguez, who are not really. And then the big ones for me is Johan Vasquez, I mean, from Genoa. He's having a really good season with Genoa. Genoa's um, obviously not the best team in Italy, but he's having a good season. He's pretty much getting regular starting times now, game time, so that's what you want to see. And the one thing Serie A is good at is defending, so it looks like he's learning loads over there, and he can improve obviously because he's still young. But yeah, so far so good for him. A couple of other Rodriguez, the Dominguez is in, I guess. Cool. Gallardo. For me, I don't want to see Chaco Rodriguez. Uh, the other Rodriguez, Gallardo, and Moreno. I don't really want to see them get much game time, to be honest with you. I think it should be Sanchez, Araujo, Cesar Montes, and Arteaga. I think that's Mexico's best back line at the moment, so that's what I hope to see. So that's the defence, and then going into the midfield, Edson Alvarez, obviously standard, Godardo, okay. He's been doing well with Betis, so fair enough. I think there's more reason for him to be called up now than there was for him in December. Edson Gutierrez, I'm absolutely buzzing for him. Obviously, he's had a dodgy time at PSV, but he seems to really click now and become a good player and a main player for them. So hopefully that can continue, and I think he absolutely deserves his call up. Hopefully he gets some game time. Hector Herrera as well, obviously standard. He's, question the marks about whether he should leave Atletico Madrid because he's not getting that much game time, but for me, he's still Mexico's, I would say, best centre midfielder. I think Edson Alvarez is close, but I think Herrera is the best midfielder so far at the moment. Diego Lainez, absolutely buzzing for him. The way Betis treating him is really, really annoying. Like, I don't know, I could have a whole video about what I think of Real Betis and Lainez, but super buzzing for him. Hopefully he can do well and get some minutes in his 3 games because he deserves it. Orbelin Pineda, obviously fresh off his move from Celta Vigo. That's a good move. I'm really happy about that. I'm really buzzing for him. I really hope he does well in Spain. I think he will, in my opinion. I think he will. So I'm really buzzing for him. Charlie Rodriguez doing really, really well for Cruz Azul since making that move. So fair enough. My screen's just gone dead. So let me just get back up. Yes, I'm really happy with Charlie Rodriguez. Romo, okay, fine. Uriel Antuna going into the forward line now. Sorry, guys. Antuna, okay, cool. Obviously, he's just his move to Cruz Azul. So I'm still a bit questioning of that move. I personally would like to have kept him, but hopefully he does well. I don't really expect him to get that much game time. I'll have to wait and see. The big one for me is Jesus Corona, Tecatito. I mean, absolutely buzzing for him getting his move to Sevilla. That's long overdue. That should have happened in the summer, in my opinion. I think the fact that he wanted to leave Porto and then couldn't, and then they froze him out. Like they kept him just to freeze him out. It's really weird. I'm like Portuguese league is the Portuguese league, but he's had a terrible time, terrible 6 months over there. To be honest with you, and that blatantly has affected his um, performance with El Tri. I mean, he's not had a good year at all, which is weird because he's usually one of Mexico's best players. He's usually really consistently good. But he had a poor year, so hopefully this move to Sevilla's giving him some happiness and some joy and some confidence, and that he can then go and translate that into the national team. I expect him to have a good 3 games, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if he bags a goal or two, so really buzzing for him. Obviously, Raul Jimenez, standard, like still Mexico's best striker by a way. He's doing well for Wolves. He's not scoring that many goals, but he is still doing well for them, so that's fine. Chucky Lozano, obviously standard. They're the front three, in my opinion. They remain so. He's doing well for Napoli. He had a red card a couple of games back, but he's also scored a brace in the last game, so overall I think he's doing really well this season. Obviously, blatantly one of Napoli's main players. Alexis Vega, my boy from Chivas, I'm super buzzing for him. I think he will probably come off the bench in a couple of these games, and hopefully he does well. Absolutely deserves to be in the national team, in my opinion. He's good enough, and he's stayed at Chivas. It looks like touch wood. I mean, still there's 3 days to go. It looks like he's staying at Chivas, so we need him. Like God, we need him. Scored an absolute worldie a couple of games back in the first game of the season for a free kick. So hopefully he can come off the bench and have a really good impact. I think he might start one of the games at least as well. So buzzing for him. And then we've got obviously Henry Martine, who and Funes Mori as well. Both of them, I'm like, don't know. I don't know. I mean, we can't really choose anyone else. Maybe obviously Santi Munoz, but obviously he's just coming back from injury, so we can't call him up really. And Jimenez as well, Santi Jimenez, maybe. I think that might have been a logical choice. I don't know. These two, Funes Mori and Martin, purely back up. I think Funes Mori will probably be the more likely of the two to get game time. Maybe probably starts one of the games at least. But I'm just not. There's like 4 or 5 players in this team that I think I would rather not have there, and have younger players taking their spots. But I mean, it is a significant step up this from the December one. Like significantly, the fact that Arteaga's back is absolutely huge. I can't state that enough. Obviously, we can take Tito getting his move to Sevilla. Hopefully, his form is going to be markedly improved for Mexico. Purely for the fact that he's hopefully happier. Yeah, I mean, same with Pineda as well. I think hopefully he'll be buzzing. I think he will get some game time as well. But you blatantly you can form your best starting 11. Yeah, this team for me would be Ochoa and goal. Like I said, Sanchez, Montez, Araujo, and Ortega in defence. Excuse me. And then obviously Alvarez and probably Herrera starts in midfield. And then Tecatito, Jimenez, and Chucky Lozano up top. So, and then, I don't know, did I miss a player out? I think I missed a player out. 4, 2, 3, yeah, I missed a player out. The other player, I don't know, to be honest with you, maybe Pineda. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe Charlie Rodriguez, or maybe Vegas starts at Cam, maybe. That might be cool. Yeah, I'm really happy with it, to be honest with you. There is still room for improvement, though. The goalkeeping situation absolutely needs to be absolutely thrown away. Just have a Cho in there. There's no need for Kota. There's no need for Roscoe. There's arguably no need for Talavera. Talavera's done alright, to be fair to him, for Mexico in the last year or so, but bro, to start bringing in Acevedo, for goodness sake, like bringing him in, and I think even include Godino. He's young enough to carry this Mexico team for a few more years after most of these guys have retired. Like, Bring them in now. Get them game time. I mean, game time's going to be limited anyway. I'd rather see Acevedo start game than any of the other three. So it is not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. So hopefully this team can do well and absolutely needs to win really all three games, to be honest with you. But for me, um, I think 7 points is going to be what's happening. I think we're going to get 2 wins and a draw. It just depends on how Mexico does. If Mexico plays like they did in December and November, then, or especially December, then I'm going to be a bit worried. But I think some of the players' moves and the fact that there's some players in there now that we didn't have in December, I think changes it for the better. It's a step up. So I'm expecting good things from this team. I'm expecting good things in January. So let me know in the comments what you think about the team. Do you think that have I missed out a player that you think should be called up, but no, that hasn't? Um, do you disagree with me or agree with me about the players that I've talked about in this team? Or what do you think about the results? Who do you think we're going to win against? Who do you think we could lose against? What do you think the results are going to be for the game? So let me know in the comments. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the games on the roster, guys. So yeah, thanks very much, and I'll come back and do reviews of the games as and when they happen. So, and I'll also might do a Marcelo Flores video soon as well, because obviously he's got an under 23s game hopefully in a couple of days, and I've heard that he is going to be called up for the Mexico U20s to play a couple of games against Costa Rica friendlies, obviously. So obviously it's U20, so it's not going to cap time anyway. Some people are arguing that Marcelo Flores should be involved in this team. I think it's too soon. I'm not personally worried. Some people want to tie him down by now. I'm not worried at all. If you look at his history, he's picked Mexico every single time. He's playing for Mexico now. I think he's been called up to Mexico like 7 or 8 times now in the last couple of years, and has accepted them all and has gone to them all. So the one time that he accepted a call up for Canada, he ended up saying, actually, no, I'm going to stay with the Arsenal under 18s. So for me, I'm not worried. I think there's some more time. We don't need to call Marcelo. I mean, to be fair, I think we could have, taken one of these goalkeepers off and just put Marcelo Flores in there and give him a couple of minutes, in one of the games and cap tie him. But that would have been interesting. That would have been interesting to see if he would have accepted that call up, and if he accepted to play, because that's the ultimate decision maker. But I'm not worried though at all. To be honest with you, everything. I mean, obviously anything can happen. He can still choose Canada, but everything so far points to, hey, I want to play for Mexico. Oh, Mexico called me? Okay, yeah, I'll go to that. Canada's called me? I think I'd rather stay with the Arsenal under 18s. Like, I'm not worried about it. I think there's another year. I mean, let him break into the Arsenal under 23s first. Let him get his Arsenal debut. I think once he's made his Arsenal debut and he's in and around the first team, then I think Mexico really needs to start stepping up and calling him up, because this kid's gonna go straight up. Like, he's gonna do a Bukayo Saka for me. He's gonna go from in the kids teams to suddenly being a first team regular. It's going to happen. Touch wood. It looks like it's going to happen. I mean, he's actually had a massive impact to the under 23s already. I fully expect him to just be playing purely in the under 23s now. I think his under 18 days are over. So there's time. I think there's at least a year, I reckon. He's obviously not in a hurry to kind of commit, but he doesn't need to. He's picking Mexico every single time, so I think we can wait a little while longer. Even if he goes to a camp, even if he goes to a camp, then for Canada, then I would have been worried if they called him up to these World Cup qualifiers. They've got Alphonso Davies out. They've got a couple of players out. Their squad's significantly weaker than it was in December. So I was worried, thinking, they could actually call him up for the World Cup qualifiers. And it would have been extremely interesting to see if he would have accepted that. Because he would have known that if he got the game time in that, he would have been cap tied to Canada. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether they didn't call him up because they felt they didn't need him. I think they do need him. I think Canada needs all the help they can get. Um, their fans seem to think that they've got a massive roster, but mate, without Alphonso Davies, it's a huge step down, and they know it as well. You know, they know it. So, yeah. So regarding Flores, I'm gonna make a couple more videos soon about him because he's a super busy boy at the moment. So, yeah, let me know what you think about this roster, guys, and I'll see you guys for the review for the for the World Cup qualifiers, which is gonna happen in a week or so. So, take it easy, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.